rotation aloft.
So what we're seeing is right in through here, and this is in parts of Camden County, right?
Yeah, so I misspoke. This is not a tornado on the ground. This is a tornado that we're seeing significant rotation on radar west of Colesburg.
Okay, so this is the system, right?
And moving due east at 35, so it's heading right towards Woodbine. This is the same storm, John, we've been watching that had that significant rotation north of Folkston about half hour ago.
At that time, I was watching you on news4jax.com, David, and you had that little marker on the marker was showing the cylinder, and that cylinder is where we get a high probability of either a funnel cloud or something touching the treetops, definite rotation, and occasionally it hits the nail and saying that we have had some kind of tornadic condition, something touching the ground. So I'm going to change it up. This is how it looks normally, obviously, this is what we see, but what I'm going to show you now is to show you what we have been watching for, the potential here of some debris. So this is going to show you where we might be seeing some debris rotate with the storm, and I'm going to put this into play. And remember, this is where we're ultimately going to end up. And if you look closely, what David was showing you a few minutes ago was this marker, and let's see if I can't center this up a little bit. And this marker ultimately gave us the clue to something was going on. And if you notice, it's going to happen right here, and it's going to back up. So give it a sec. Here we go. And there's the marker right there, very brief, but it illustrates that it's on the same track as our rotation. And Woodbine, unfortunately, it looks like you are the ones who are under a threat here for the possible tornado, as it's coming right on through your area right now. Again, from Billyville all the way back out there towards Ceylon. And again, this is just out to the southwest, the Dover Bluff. St. Simon's Island's up here. There's Brunswick, Georgia. So this is, again, a very rural area through parts of Nassau County, or Camden County. And again, the worst of the storm system is probably located right where that big patch of blue is. That big patch of blue representing where we're getting probably not just some hail signature, and we are, but also the rotation. So right now it's a little concerning, literally right there near Halifax along the river. And again, from East 10th Street all the way back out to 95. This little green area here is probably representing the highest of the wind speeds. It's probably mixing in with a little bit of an outflow pattern. So sometimes we get a little bit of a fake out, but fake out meaning that we have a sea breeze coming in one direction, got a storm coming in from the opposite. They kind of spiral on each other, and when they do so, we get an indication of a possible tornado. Reality is we don't actually have a tornado. This is different. This may, in fact, be a tornado because we saw this marker way out to the west, and it continues to show rotation, and the National Weather Service is showing that we have a possible tornado, and indicated by some of the observations they had. David, is that a radar observation? I'm going to assume so, but was that a radar observation?
That was a radar observation.
Okay, that was a radar observation.
And this is getting very close to the Woodbine exit there, 995.
Yes, and again, that is right in through here. So from the river and back out there towards the ocean and out there towards intercoastal, these are all the areas, and a lot of homes are right along the various rivers in Camden County. Not a ton, not like it is down there in Nassau County, but you know what I'm talking about. Folks live there, and these are the areas that we'll have to watch out for the potential of seeing this possible tornado head in your general direction. Now, I don't see the storm tracks on here. Let's see if I can pop them on. David, could you just look at weather and just see if it's available? Click it on, if you will, because I would have expected to see at least one storm track out there, an indication that we do have. Oh, there you go. And that way we can better judge where they're going. So these are little arrows here, these red lines representing the strength of the storm. And we can break it out by looking at some of the finer details inside the storm itself. Look at the hail potential here. It's 2-inch size hail, severe hail probability now at 90%, basically likely that out there towards Woodbine and then extending out there towards 95, we're going to see hail come down in a pretty broad area. Again, a tornado warning is in effect for this area all the way through 2:15, about another 9 minutes, but high probability this will be extended. That is to say, the tornado warning will go all the way out there towards the beaches. If anything, they'll kind of chunk off the back end of it and then extend it out there towards the coastal waters off the coast out there near just north of Cumberland Island. Heavy, extensive lightning area out to the west, but it's catching my eye right now. Notice the lightning conditions right in through here. This is right there near Woodbine. Now, again, passing right through the downtown area of Woodbine and now extending on out towards the east. This is just an indication that the storm is very powerful at this moment and likely to remain that way.
John,
go ahead.
You were just talking about hail. We do have a dime-sized hail reported west side of Woodbine from the fire department.
And this is all indications that we probably have a very powerful storm that is, again, continuing to move on off towards east very rapidly. Woodbine right in through here. And again, as we go back to the bigger picture, the greens and then these little indicated areas of red represent with possible high level of wind shear, and wind shear does go along with possible tornado. Remember, winds in a tornado spin, so you get a one-way wind and you get the opposite wind, and that's shear. And so we can calculate that using the National Weather Service radar data, and we can get an idea to what extent, how powerful that wind rotation was taking place. Look at the little couplet that was taking place back out there just to the west of everybody. So going back to what were normal radars so that you get a better feel for what's happening. We're back north of Jacksonville at the moment. We're looking at this possible tornado. It's a very strong signature. The one signature that we have for the other tornado warning, which is back out here in Baker County. That tornado warning extends all the way to 2:15, just another 6-7 minutes or so. It is heading right towards the Okefenokee Swamp and probably not too far away from Taylor right now, and probably reaching out there, getting over the swamp in another 10 to 15 minutes, and then it'll pop back out. If the storm holds together, if you live out there along US 1 from Folkestone all the way out to Hilliard, maybe even Callahan, might have to deal with that storm as it gets all the way out there towards the coast, and that's going to take place over the next hour and a half or so. So a track not too far away from, there's the radar set right there. So it's going to head on off towards Nassau County. So even though we're dealing with Camden County, seeing some of the worst of it, and Baker County, seeing a potential tornado there as well, reality of it is it's going to kind of converge just out to the north of Jacksonville and through parts of Nassau County. And then ultimately here in Jacksonville, probably around 3:30, 4 o'clock, we're going to get a good round of severe potential storms as well. These storms should and have been weakening over the last few hours, and so the thinking would be by the time we get to that hour, will be 4 o'clock, we will see weaker storms. Now the tornado watch, keep in mind we started this morning off with a tornado watch for folks in Georgia and back out to the west that included Baker County. That was till 2 o'clock. They've now extended that to 4 o'clock this afternoon. And with that being the case, that threat for potential tornadic activity, I got to say, has got to include Duval County just because of the timing of all this. After all, a lot of these storms are still a long way away from reaching not just Duval County.
Update here, John, in the Woodbine area. They are continuing the tornado warning, getting reports now of a possible tornado near Highway 17 northbound approaching Woodbine.
Okay, again, this is right here, and again, Woodbine's right there.
And they've bumped up the hail to golf ball size.
Yes, and again, that illustrates what we just showed you moments ago. Golf ball size hail is 2-inch size hail. And again, Exact Track 40 kind of picking up on that very early on. Here's another look, a sample, if you will, of what's happening back out there into the Woodbine area. This particular part of the storm, about to go through Hopewell and then White Oak and then probably through Waverly over the next 10 to 15 minutes. In fact, Waverly's already seen the worst of the storm come through. It all depends on the perspective of how the storm top is moving. But here's the important part. Look at the size of the hail here. That hail signature is showing off the chart. For us, that's not common, especially this time of the year. Atmosphere is not quite there to really show a lot of hail. So back to the big picture, what I'm showing you right now is the hail track that's taken place on lightning as well. So the white little lightning bolt's pretty obvious, that's lightning. But it's this purple area right in through here that shows the track of the storm. And right now the storm is literally hovering right over I-95. I know the report David just mentioned said US 17, which is in Waverly. The reality of it is the storm's moving 40 miles an hour. How do I know that? Well, I can just look at the details here. This is moving easterly at 36 to 40 miles an hour, and that'll be off the coast here in about another 20 minutes or so. But the path of the storm, purple, all back out there towards the Okefenokee, showing that this is going to produce a broad area of hail that'll get all the way out there towards Dover Bluff and everywhere basically straight east of out there at Woodbine. So again, along 17 now, I-95 in moments, and then out there to the east, possible tornado, gusty winds to 60 miles an hour, and a large hail being produced by this particular storm. Just a reminder where the safe room conditions are, if you hadn't already thought this through. Remember, the center of your home is where you want to be in the case of a possible tornado. You don't want to be running around looking at the storm for any length of time. But again, with the dark clouds threatening back out to the west, you got to get going. It's, tornado tracking, people do it all the time, but interior room, bathtub, or closet, these are the areas inside a home you really want to be. You don't want to be kind of caught outside or kind of thinking about going indoors, it's going to be too late to be doing something like that by the time that takes place. So again, we're talking about Camden County, Georgia, heading on out there towards Dover Bluff. A very serious, severe thunderstorm and possible tornado associated with it. So much to pick from here, but let me go look for the possibility of some debris showing up on the radar signature. And yep, there may be some debris here, although it's not real clear. So I'm going to clear all this stuff out so you can get a better feel for what we're looking at here. And what we're looking at is an area, a coloration here. So right now, the debris detector is looking for large variations in object size. When it's raining, like back out here to the west is just your general rain pattern. All the debris, in this case water droplets, raindrops, all about the same. But when we have yellow mixed in, it's usually hail. And then if we get a very large chunk of dark blue, occasionally, and it's a lot of it going on here, it's either large dust or possible debris associated with a tornado. Now, this is just the leading edge of the wind, so I'm going to suggest that this is just, all of this is just a leading gust front of wind, and we can double check our work by going back and looking at the severe details of this particular storm and looking at the wind speeds. And we see these little green pattern here. Let's double check another look here, go back at the different radar site, maybe get a cleaner look, and here we are. And what we'll find here is some higher wind speeds right on the leading edge of where all the winds are coming across, and that's usually helpful for us to get a better identify where the worst of the storm is. And right at this very moment, you could see as we zoom back in here, right out here, this is Waverly right there, heading through 95, the leading edge of the wind already east of 95, and that means the possible tornado would be just along 95 and heading on off towards Dover Bluff in particular, and then off the coast here probably in the next, say, 10 minutes or so. This one storm, again, just to give a perspective, these are the details, 33 miles an hour, that's the travel speed, up to around 40,000 feet, and in wintertime, that is a tall thunderstorm. It's a severe thunderstorm, possible tornado. Hail size has inched down just a little bit, but there's definitely going to be a path of hail all the way out there from Woodbine to Cylon. And again, there's Dover Bluff, kind of like the final place that it will probably cause some damage.
And John, they just issued a new warning for that. They're going to extend it to 2:30 for central Camden, south central Glenn County. Possible tornado, golf ball size hail with this storm.
Okay, again, these are the official reports, but we're giving you the leading edge of the information that we have by just being on Exact Track 4D radar. This gives us an advance notice to you about how the National Weather Service is reacting to this storm as they gather the information as we do. So again, out here to the north of Jacksonville, Camden County seeing the worst of it, and lightning here is pretty extensive. Those lightning strikes, it says 72, but that's just in the screen area here in the last 5 minutes. That's 300 minutes, and we're getting a lightning strike here every 3 to 5 seconds. In wintertime, that is really significant. That's a suggestion that not only is this a severe storm, but it'll continue to roll all the way out there to the coast with the potential of a tornado. Just looking back at the other storm, the tornado warning that is out there in parts of Baker County is going to expire here. In fact, it has now expired. It'll come off the screen here in a second. There's some good news. As we look at that individual storm, though, we are still seeing some rotation on it, and this is the storm that we'll watch move in through parts of Nassau County, about a 50-mile-an-hour area of wind rotation here, and that's pretty much on the threshold of possibly getting a tornado warning back in effect. That is the area that we're watching, and this is going to continue to race on off towards the northeast into Nassau County, as I mentioned. Let me clear this out one more time and show you some of the details here. This storm, not nearly as intense as the other one. Remember, severe hail possibility here, only 30%. Maximum size, only 3/4 of an inch. So out there near Taylor, heading out there towards the swamp itself, and then ultimately out here into parts of Nassau County will be this storm. Even though the arrows are pointing off towards the north and east, and the storm may ultimately track in that general direction, what will likely happen also is that we're going to get the winds and the storm system to basically take a more easterly track as it does rotate toward, again, it's going to be a little bit more to the right than the typical storm, and that means it may track more like this, and there's US 301, and that's 295 in the northwestern parts of Jacksonville. So the storm itself heading towards parts of Nassau County. This is back to the normal radar. And as we kind of look around the area, again, you can see the line of thunderstorms continuing all the way back out there towards Lake City. And for Jacksonville, the good news here is that we are starting to see a little pop-up showers ahead of this broader area of thunderstorms. when we start to see these what I will call prefrontal or pre-squall line showers, they kind of rob the atmosphere from the main line of thunderstorms, and in the process allows for the next round, the big round here, to be not quite as intense. We didn't see that in Georgia. Georgia, these storms just came racing on through and stayed very, very powerful all the way out here to the coast, which brings us back to the current tornado warning out here in Camden County, and another look at, let's see, the velocity of the wind speeds and also the rotation that's taking place as these storms continue to race on off there towards the coast. They'll be off of Dover Bluff here very, very shortly. Again, we're still tracking this one nasty particular storm here, producing the hail. This hail size now coming down. It was up to 2 inches in size, now about an inch, inch and a half. And I'm going to go into the 3D mode here just briefly to kind of show where we can possibly see a core of hail. I'm not seeing it at the moment, but it is always possible. Looks like here's that wind, one wind report that took place, and this is out there towards Woodbine. Possible tornado near Highway 17 northbound approaching, as again they were noting some wind damage. My guess is that they had observed damaged by the fire department or somebody called it in. And in Camden County, I think our producers probably need to make a phone call real quick to see how much, if any, damage has taken place out there, and just to double check to see to the extent of this particular storm, as it's our critical storm at the moment. This storm will continue, like I said, move on out there towards the coast. The extent of this is right on through, would you say 2:30, David?
Yes, 2:30.
Yeah, so the warning again for another 12 minutes, 13 minutes. It wouldn't surprise me if they extended it, because we can still see the storm is pretty well organized. It's located in this dark purple area right in through here. And just kind of looking at the most updated track that we have, we can still see the hail size is very large. And
just got a report of pea-size hail. This is northwest side of Woodbine, but clearly we're going to see more significant hail than that.
Yes, exactly. And this is rural areas, so the reports will be fairly delayed and will probably show up on Facebook or Twitter or something to that extent. Again, as we look at the big picture, I'm going to show you Duval County now. We're way down here in the clear, at least for now. We're not seeing any of the heavy thunderstorms, at least for the next hour or two. Little isolated showers will just continue to pop up. And it's the clustering of lightning. Oftentimes, my ears always go up over lightning in the wintertime. It's not common, so when we start to see it show up, it's telling you something big's going on. And when you see it show up like a summertime storm, you have a severe thunderstorm and possibly a tornado as well. Notice the concentration of the lightning here. We don't see the concentration of the lightning back out to the west. This is a general pattern of lightning, and the lightning is very, very broken out there. By the way, this is a live drive cam, as again, Storm Track 4 is out on the roads. This is I-95, they're northbound, and they're seeing that leading edge of the storm. So let me show you approximately where they're at. As we look back into Camden County, you can see there's 95 right in through here, so they're probably something about right there near the 95 sign. And the reason why I say that, because they're looking back out here to the leading edge of this particular severe thunderstorm. By the way, if you can communicate to the guys or whoever's driving out there, if they could head on off towards, let me give you a road here. They're just updated. Probably not going to be able to get too close to it. They'll probably have to, why I'm saying, I was hoping we could kind of intersect this storm somewhere out there towards the east of Woodbine, but this is the main river that goes out, and I forgot the name of it already, but this is a river. You won't be able to get anybody out there, but this is the one track right in through here that this storm is going to take, and that'll get us back out there to the areas out there in Woodbine. So we're going to stay with Storm Track 4 here and watch them go through the storm itself. By the way, if you look at the storm itself, as you look at the video here, I'm looking at the dark base of the clouds. You can see how dark the clouds are here. Looking for rotation, don't see anything here, but what I am seeing, if you look beyond the storm or through the clouds, there's like a white horizon, and then there's a dark cloud layer. Well, that white horizon is a wall of rain just coming down. The clouds in the foreground, the dark ones, they're the ones we always watch out for the potential of some kind of spin up. But this is that leading edge of the storm. And as we get closer and closer to that white area, the cloud darkness will actually fade. It's kind of an optical illusion. You can see that one dark cloud hanging over that 18-wheeler right there in front of the Storm Track 4. That is not a tornado, by the way. That is just a typical scud cloud, a cloud that just develops as we get some cool air to descend and then lift it back up. And as it lifts back up, it can create this low-hanging cloud that has that look. And again, within about another 2 miles of wherever they are, and again, they're probably located right here at the 95 sign. Again, this is Camden County, Georgia. Woodbine's located right about here. You guys are now just dealing with light to moderate rain. There's Dover Bluff. Again, it's all out there in the eastern parts of Camden County that we find ourselves with the worst of this storm. And again, just watching that one undulating storm cloud off to the right there, that's the one. And again, they just passed Harriet's Bluff Road as the Storm Track 4 races into this storm. There is the possibility they will go into some hail here in a few moments. And in fact, let's take a look at the hail possibilities that are going on out there with this storm. It certainly was going on there a few minutes ago. The purple area here represents the trail of hail. Not exactly what's happening live right now, but we do know from the indications from the radar that hail was coming from this storm and probably still is right along I-95. In that wall of white now that you're seeing is probably some hail that'll come from the cloud as they travel through it. It's unfortunate. Timing's everything in these storm tracking or when you're going out storm chasing. Got to be in the right place, right time, get to the right situation. They'll probably miss the core of hail, but they might pick up some of the pieces of it. Again, no rotation in the bottom of the clouds that you're looking at here. And if you're saying you're looking at that area of white, you're going, where's the clouds there? Well, the clouds are just like the clouds you see in the foreground, except you can't see them because the rain is coming down and hail coming down so hard you can't see the bottom of the clouds. So, oh, thank you very much. Just got an update that there have been no reports of damage in Camden County up to this moment in terms of what this storm has produced, despite the fact that we have this large area of hail and have had the indicated reports on National Weather Service radar that a tornado probably did touch down at one point, may have been pretty far out there west of US 1. And now as the storm approaches 95 and passes it, now we're starting, hey, can we go back to that real quick? Because they're really about to hit the core of the storm. So I'd love to show everybody, again, as they come up on the storm. Remember, they're moving northbound on 95. And again, this is Storm Track 4, heading northbound right into the thick of this area of purple, and all that lightning right in through there, an indication that some of that storm is going to be particularly intense. Now, do you see how the road just kind of tilted off to the right? So they're located probably somewhere right in through here, and it will be just a few more moments before they'll end up into some of the heavier rain pattern that'll be coming down and the possibility of seeing some of that hail as well. A couple of raindrops on the windshield, and you see the windshield wipers now. So they're on the edge of the storm. And by the way, notice the clouds are kind of broken up here, and the rain is not tremendously coming down at this location. At their location, again, coming in from the backside of the storm has actually weakened somewhat. And so because of that, you can actually see the clouds above are kind of broken up. They're not that solid, hardcore wall of black coming towards them. And those kind of combination of things that we're seeing here illustrate the fact that this storm, where they're going to be venturing into here along I-95 in Camden County, is going to be on the moderate to heavy side and probably not much more than that. Again, not seeing that just solid differentiation between calm and complete chaos. Oftentimes we can see those big gust fronts of winds up to 50, 60 miles an hour, the big dark clouds swinging through. You've probably experienced it a number of times in your life, and you can feel the wind, and you can see the temperature, or feel the temperature come down, and then next thing it's a wall of rain just opening up. Those are where we see the more intense type of conditions as they drive it continuously up 95. And again, this is just east of Woodbine. They're picking up on some of the heavier rains that are coming down, but just on the light to moderate at this moment, as the core of the storm, as you can see, is now out to the east of it. So probably not going to see much more than what you see here, as again, I can look at the cloud bases, and if you look closely, this is actually very, amazing if you take your eyes and just kind of apply what you're seeing to what's going on. If you see the clouds here on the bottom, if you look at the straightaway where they're traveling towards, you can almost make out a few clouds. Well, when you see some clouds in the distance, it means the rain's not that heavy. So I can tell you right now, they're not going to see super intense rains after all. That storm moving so fast. In just the time they went from here to here. The storm's gone from here all the way out to there. And again, unfortunately, in some ways, they're not going to have to deal with the worst of the storm, but we're not going to get a really great show at the same time. Let's go back to where the storm's tracking. Again, the possibility of a tornado with this storm continues to move on off towards the Buffalo or the Dover Bluff area. Here are the latest indications from Exact Track 40 radar. Hail size continuing to come on down a little bit. And looks like we just got a new update. Let's see if I can apply it right here. And again, moving to the northeast, east-northeast at 33 miles an hour. Hail size 1.25 inches, all the way from Piney towards Dover within the next 5 to 6 minutes, probably less than that. Here's the heavier rain starting to show up on their storm track. And then it'll be out there. Maybe, I don't think Brunswick needs to be too concerned. You've already had some pretty heavy rains. And so what we'll likely see is that the heavy rains continue in the Brunswick, Georgia area, but you're just not going to get the super severe weather. So that storm continues to move out there towards the Atlantic Ocean. We're going to take our focus and head back out west because the tornado warnings, I think they're all going to come to an end here in about another 2 minutes and 15 seconds. David's bobbing his head. Yep. Pretty much going to make a wrap on that. But here's what we're going to monitor right there for Duval County. So if you've been following along, David, you were on from what, 12:45? For an hour and 15 minutes, covering the multiple tornado warnings in Georgia. Some of the warnings way up there towards Alma, Georgia. And then we started picking up the storms up here around 1:45, getting closer towards the coast. David picking up that one storm coming out of the Okefenokee Swamp. We saw what we call a cylinder. It's a storm track, and it's kind of an icon that looks like a little red and yellow icon. If you ever see this cylinder, you need to realize that something's going on. So let's say you're out somewhere and you're just watching us but not listening. But you're watching us and you see us show that cylinder, it means business, and that is that one storm. Now, whether or not a tornado came through Camden County or not, we don't know for sure, but we do know hail was a big story there, and in some backyards it was probably very severe with inch and a half size hail, maybe even greater in some backyards. And if you saw that, if you live up there in Camden County, got friends in Waverly, out there down towards Woodbine, and they did pick up on some hail, have them post it to, again, newsforjacks.com, and that is for Snapjacks. So again, newsforjacks.com, Snapjacks, and you can post it that way. Easier than that, I have my phone right there next to me. You just open up the app, go down to the bottom, it says pins. You open up the pins section, you can upload the picture real quickly, and there you go. So you can see they're driving through moderate rain right now. They're way up here and through parts of Nassau or Camden County. Ultimately, we could probably turn them around and head them back down south because the next round of storms is heading towards Duval County. And this is all about storm chasing. And when we go out there storm chasing, oftentimes you'll chase one storm, turn around, head back into the front of the next storm so that you can get that full effect of how the storm is taking place.
Duval just went under a tornado watch till 4 o'clock.
So again, Duval County now under the tornado watch.
Clay as well.
Okay, and we'll see it pop up here on the screen here in just a few moments. So the red here that we show is indicating a tornado watch that's in effect for areas back out to the west. That's going to be extended, and it was already extended from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And it's no surprise to us here that they have now extended it to Duval and Clay County. And possibly they'll move it all the way out to St. Johns County, but it seems unlikely. Reasoning here is that they tend to do that. All right, and we're getting some pictures. I think this is from earlier on, but check this out. Look at this, David. I don't know if you can see it, but that's quite the little hailstone right there. Camden County, behind the courthouse, 2-inch hailstone, very well formed. And note the spikes on it, didn't melt too much. So that could have done a few little dings on a couple of cars out there. If you happen to live in that area, you may have seen some hail damage to your car. You'll see little tiny ping marks that look like little teeny tiny dents on your hood and on the top of your car. We'll look at those pictures again. There's the tornado watch now extended into Duval County and Clay County as well. All of this is through 4 o'clock. I would say the timing on this particular storm system done by the forecast models has been awesome. I mean, really talking up about a 4, 5, 6 o'clock time frame for us to see these storms come through. Ultimately, they may be a little bit speedier than what we had talked about, but you know, it's 2:30 now. It's still probably after 4 before this stuff down here gets all the way in through parts of Duval County. So it's the stuff way down south that ultimately will be heading into the Duval County area. Now, all this lightning you see here, that's going to head off into Nassau County and to the southeastern portions of Camden County, Georgia, including Kings Bay, all the way back out there towards Kings Land and probably out there towards Fernandina Beach. All these areas will see this bulk of heavy lightning and the heavier storms head their way. That seems to be the core of the energy is, and I say that, and you guys pretty much can identify this for yourself at home, is that you have a lot of lightning here, here, and here, and almost no lightning going on down south. So watch the lightning strikes total come way down as I start looking south into this other area of red. So you see this red here, and you say to yourself, wow, that must be coming my way. It's going to be real bad. But when we look at the total number of lightning strikes, at least in that one little area, 15, 16, 20, you know, up to 50 maybe, and that's not that much. But if I just drag this into that core area, which is out there to the north, and that includes areas of like near Lake City right there, here's I-10 through Baker County. Now we're looking at the lightning strikes over 500. So again, this is an indication that this is the true area of severe weather. Severe thunderstorm warning is now in effect for all of Baker County. That extends all the way out down to the south into Union County. This warning goes in effect, stays in effect for another 15 minutes. Quite honestly, it's going to go on until this storm gets out to the coast. So just anticipate severe thunderstorms to roll through parts of Baker, Union, Bradford, probably western Clay, western all of Nassau County, and in western parts of Duval County with this clustering of thunderstorms and lightning that you see here, making up the bulk of all the severe weather that we're tracking right now. I think we're heading southbound now. I didn't pay attention. Did we turn around or not? Help me out. Not yet. Yeah, tell them to turn around real quick because I want to get them back down 95 so they can kind of cross into this storm as it heads on out there towards Kingsland, Georgia. So as soon as they get the opportunity to turn around, I would go for it. Again, what's this do for Jacksonville? Well, we're going to continue to monitor these storms out to the west for the potential for severe tornadic. At the moment, we're just seeing the possibility of severe thunderstorms with some gusty winds and the like. What I'm going to show you here is a three-dimensional look, and this is how that whole tornado thing started a few minutes ago. We were looking at the overall pattern in the upper atmosphere to see if there was any structure out there that might allow for the possibility of a tornado to form. And what we have above us is an atmosphere that gets colder and colder and colder and then actually gets warmer and warmer. And right up here between the two layers is called a tropopause, and this is that flat region right in through here. That's where the separation takes place. But on occasion, we get these severe thunderstorms that literally poke up into the atmosphere, and when they do that, they go up, and they're literally forced to go back down if the storm is unable to support it. And when they do so, you get a severe gust of wind that literally boomerangs back down to earth, and this is what we call downburst. Other times we get a rotational value that shoots up into the atmosphere and supports this perturbation, if you will, into the troposphere. And as it does so, these storms can last and last and be tornadic. So right now we're just watching these little peaks of severe thunderstorms and see if they're holding together for an extended period of time. Notice we are still seeing this little redevelopment of thunder showers ahead of the main line. So there's the wall of rain. Ahead of it are little pop-up little thunder showers, and those thunder showers here are going to rob energy from the big, powerful line of storms out to the west. So when those storms do reach the same areas that are getting rain right now, and this includes Clay County, all the way back down through Putnam County into central parts of Florida, those areas will get these little showers now, and then it'll get a wall of rain to come through, but it probably won't be on the severe side. It'll be just on the heavy side. So kind of zooming into where we're finding some of the heavier storms right now, you can see back out here to the west of us, there's downtown. If you were able to see through the clouds right now, the ones overhead, you would just see this wall of thunderstorms back out to the north, and that is the wall of rain and the potential for severe and possible tornadoes that are heading our way. Now we're in a dilemma mode here. Do we have any tornado warnings in effect at the moment? I think we're going to call it here for at least a little while because we want to regroup, and we'll get back to this live on the air. If you want to follow through on watching us, the Weather Authority app is running a stream of this and some of the other images that we're watching here inside the Weather Center. And if you want to follow that, you just have to open up the app and watch it. If you haven't downloaded the app, just go to the App Store. Whether you have Android or an Apple phone, go to your respective app stores and load up News4JAX Weather Authority, and it'll be loaded. You just have to download it and put it on your phone, and then it'll stay on that front main page at the very top, all the graphics that we're watching for in these particular storms. The one storm we're watching right now in particular, even though we don't have a tornado warning in effect, is this one in through parts of Baker County now and also Charlton County. This is going to cross all the way out here into parts of Nassau County. If there's going to be a possible tornado in the next 15 to 20 minutes, it's along US 1, Hilliard, Callahan, and maybe all the way out to Folkestone, but basically on US 1, northwestern parts of Nassau County. Stay alert, and we'll be back live on the air should another tornado warning pop up. So stay tuned to Channel 4 and follow us on the Weather Authority app.
Stay with the local